Hey everybody, Marty Sleeva here alongside Gennady Karol, the co-founder of Moon Studios, the developer behind Ori and the Blind Forest.
Hey everybody, we're here today with Thomas Mahler to show you more from Ori's advanced gameplay at Gamescom.
So we're seeing here, a lot of people saw the demo at E3, at the reveal, and then at San Diego Comic-Con, which kind of showcased the first 20 minutes or so of the game.
Yep.
But this is showing us a new ability a bit later on in the game. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so the way we approach development of Ori is like we always try to push the boundary in this genre. We thought about, okay, what can we do that hasn't been done before in 2D platformer game like this? Mm-hmm. So we started with like having ideas and throwing them out, and our animator did a great job building concept videos of like this character running around and jumping off enemies and kicking them off and never touching the ground and solving all those challenges. And we thought, hey, wouldn't that be really cool? So we tried to implement it and make that actual mechanic in the game. Okay. So if Thomas is going to approach that spirit lantern, how we call it, he can actually hold Y, and while he holds Y, he can play with his analog stick and direct Ori in the direction where he wants to go. Okay. And then he like slingshots into that direction.
Yeah. So we saw originally, some of the in the E3 build, some of the sort of mobility abilities that we got included like wall running and double jumping, and so this is like an extension of that in terms of kind of giving the players complete control over Ori in the environment.
Yep, Ori is a coming of age story,
yeah. And
this is also how we approach design, where you start as this child which just started his journey in the forest, and he grows and he gets more and more powerful progressively. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of abilities, and today we're focusing on just one of them, which we think is very unique and gives you the sense of ability you haven't seen before in games like this. Yeah. And you will have seen, like for instance right now, Thomas is actually using double jump and bash to create this mobility where he's pretty much flying over the level.
So I'm going to be honest, Thomas is just showing off right now.
He's gotten good at the game progressively.
He's played the game once or twice?
Yeah. He just designed it, so play the game quite a bit when you design it.
So what we saw at E3 and at Comic-Con was it was like the opening 20 minutes or so of the game. Where does this fall in the story?
So this is actually quite later. I mean, for normal play, that'd probably be like about 2.5 to 3 hours into the game. Yeah. So what we're showing is quite challenging. We assume that people have mastered all the abilities they have acquired until this point.
This is really, it's an interesting ability. I haven't really, seen it a lot, and I haven't seen something quite like this in different games. Has there been? Did you guys have inspiration going in? Did you look at kind of something as a blueprint, or was this something kind of really creative?
So it just naturally evolved. We always approach development with this idea of like, let's actually forget about all the limitations we have. Let's forget about the engine, what we can or cannot implement. Let's start with a video. Let's try to make something as cool as we can without having to think about anything else. And then we had that cool video, and then we had to develop it to something that can actually be controlled and an actual mechanic. Yeah. That's how it just naturally evolved. So I don't think we have specific inspiration for that.
Yeah, it seems really cool. I like it a lot. So we saw not only can you use the ability off these sort of hanging light bulbs, but you can also use them off enemy projectiles as well.
Absolutely. So the ability allows you to not only direct yourself, but it actually redirects the projectiles, both from enemies and the ones that you have in the environment, into the opposite direction of where you're going. And this level is actually pretty cool because Thomas, by using that, the double jump ability that he has already acquired and the bash ability, he can solve that challenge above without ever touching the ground.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Which is good right here because that ground is full of prickly things that will.
And he's also using this actual. In Ori, not only do we have abilities for the actual character, but we also have environmental abilities. So this whole section is about this linear. It's a more linear section, even though the game is open world and has a lot of traversal and exploration. But this section is more linear, and it's all about this. You ascend a tree, and basically it's very vertical, and the camera is kind of locked horizontally. Yeah. So, in order to design around that, we have built these portals where you can exit on the left, enter on the right, and actual game mechanics actually work with portals as well. So projectiles are being redirected through portals. You can push blocks and everything like that.
That sounds awesome. So one of the big things, obviously, this game looks gorgeous. It has this hand-drawn sort of. It feels like a Miyazaki cartoon. But
huge inspiration.
Despite all of that, the game has a lot of bite too. When I played the demo, I died quite a bit. But you have a unique sort of checkpoint system.
Exactly.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the game can get quite challenging. So to alleviate that stress, what we introduced is what we call a souling. So almost at any point in the game, you can actually hold down the B button, that casts what we call a souling, which is basically a checkpoint. But it will use your energy, which you have seen at the bottom. There, and that energy actually is something that you have to strategize, because energy is also used for more powerful attacks, and that allows you to, the player has to actually think about, okay, do I use more powerful attacks to get, to defeat my enemies in a cooler way? Or do I have to actually make my life a little bit easier and make the platforming challenges a little bit easier by saving more often?
Oh, gotcha. That's really smart. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Okay, yeah, so here, this is a much more dangerous area.
Yeah, so by now, what we actually are, we are expecting the player to have mastered all the abilities that he has acquired until this point. Yep. So we kind of mix it all up, and it's also always about this interplay of enemies, the abilities that the Ori has, the abilities that we have in the environment to create those unique challenges that you have to solve. So I mean, in this section, actually, we're showing a little bit of, as you've seen there earlier, Thomas has gotten to the heart of the Jinzo tree. Mm-hmm. So this is where we're not only building solid gameplay, but we're also trying to do world building and trying to build a world where people will be really enticed and actually make a difference in that world. So Ori has to actually restore the waters to the actual Jinzo tree. And the Jinzo tree is the source of the water for the forest, and its heart is covered with decay, and Ori needs to figure out a way to remove that decay in order to be able to resurrect it. So here you actually see a sequence where normally, if you just use your platforming abilities, you'll get stuck pretty quickly because there's the door and you need to remove the decay on the left, but you cannot really do that. So what you need to quickly figure out is that you not only need to use your platforming abilities, but also your problem-solving skills to be able to figure out the solution to that puzzle. So you figure out, oh, there's those redirection cubes, and they actually redirect projectiles. So you need to raise that projectile with all the cool abilities that you have in order to be able to redirect it through the whole portal maze to get it into that door.
Okay, this is some high-level play going on right now.
Yep.
I don't know if Thomas is going to be able to do it. I'm going to be honest.
We'll let you play a little bit later.
So I noticed when I got hands-on with the game, obviously you have these abilities like the double jump, like the wall run that every player will get. But there's also sort of an experience system where you're able to upgrade Ori and personalize them. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're mixing light RPG elements on top of the core abilities that you acquire through the world. So maybe Thomas can use the Soul Link and show us a little bit of the skill tree. Thomas, can you show us the? Yeah. So we have the ability to actually customize Ori as you play based on your playstyle. So if you want to play more aggressively, you want your attacks to be stronger, you can upgrade the path at the bottom. If you want to have an easier time exploring, if you're kind of like a collectionist type, you want to get all the abilities, and there's that in the middle. And if you want to just make your life a little bit easier so that your Soul Link is more powerful, it gives you back health, and it actually can be reused. So we can have this dynamic of like, you can use energy and trade it for health. It's all the way you want to play, and it's a layered system on top of the core abilities you have in Ori himself and the environment.
That's very cool. I don't know if you could say it, but is it possible to get all of the abilities on one playthrough, or is there only a finite amount of?
It depends on how much you explore. In order to get all of them, you'll have to do pretty good exploration to find all of the additional ability points that are in the world and all the energy, soul energy that you have. But it's possible.
Oh, very cool.
So as you notice, the game is quite challenging. So here we're showing some kind of, if you think about an older game, this would be like a boss battle. But in Ori, we didn't want to have like this huge, enormous creature that you have to shoot in the right eye 3 times and it dies and that kind of thing. We wanted to take all the abilities that the player has learned until this point, and put another, bring them to the next level, and add a timing component, add this cinematic presentation, add this, crazy sound effects, and make sure that the player's heart is racing when he's playing through this. So this is this exhilarating moment of wrapping up the entire section.
I'm having a mild panic attack right now watching this. This looks awesome. So wait, you saved the tree, and for the repayment is that they're just going to try to flood you with murder you?
That's just how it is. But the forest needs the water.
The forest needs the water. This is good water.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling Thomas has probably done this once or twice before, so he might be able to get out.
Yeah, he's gotten good at that.
Okay, that would have been a good time right before this to set a checkpoint.
Actually, since this is more of like a wrap-up sequence, you cannot save just in that section.
Oh, okay.
Because we want people to really master the abilities and really be good at that. And actually, this is something that we really, actually, let's see what the sequence is. It's actually where we are not only wrapping the dungeon with exhilarating gameplay, where people have to really nail the controls and nail the abilities they have, but also we're showing more of the story. So we're showing a little bit more about, Kuro, and we'll be revealing more of the story a little bit later, but here we can show a little bit of a glimpse of what's to come there. And that about wraps it up for our what we brought at Gamescom. So
That's awesome.
One thing that it's really important for us is that the way we approach development at Moon Studios is that we really truly care about presentation. We truly care about art. And the narrative of the story, making sure the atmosphere is right, making sure people are experiencing this enormous world they want to be, exploring, and they're enveloped in. But the foundation of everything we're doing is always gameplay.
Yeah.
So the way we approach development is before we have all that finesse on top, before the art, is even introduced, we're basically designing levels as these, solid contours. Everything is just black. The enemies are just like white boxes jumping around that you have to defeat. And we try to get that fun. If you cannot really get to the point where the foundation is fun and it works, you will not be able to, if you put all the art on top and all the finesse, it's not going to make it great. If the foundation isn't. So that's how we approach development, and we just want people to know that we're making the game out there for gamers.
It seems like from these two demos, especially this demo, I think that's pretty clear. So the Ori is coming hopefully later this year. You guys haven't really locked anything down?
Holiday.
Holiday. On what consoles?
Xbox One and PC.
Xbox One and PC, perfect. That was our demo of Ori in the Blind Forest. Thank you so much for joining me. For everything else Ori, everything else Games at Gamescom, keep it right here on IGN.